what would you say before you came here were your biggest problems and that you were trying to tell the military people about? And you were also told that you were normal, you may have some PTSD. Was there anything else that they were talking to you about?
Well, the psychologist give me written tests, and they went through the whole procedures for traumatic brain injury, and they said, yes, you have it. But then when it came time for the claims to be filed, then the neurologist and all the doctors looked at all the scans, and they said, well, it's within normal limits. So the VA is arguing within itself. You got one saying, yes, you have it, and another one over here saying, no, you don't, so then you can't get treatment for it. Mm-hmm. So it was an internal, argument within themselves.
So you were diagnosed with traumatic brain injury, but it's within normal limits.
Right.
How is a brain injury within normal limits?
That was my question.
Okay. Well, what about sleeping, and what about what other symptoms did you feel that you had that the military seemed to not recognize or not be sympathetic to?
Well, with that, I had a lot of sleep disturbance, getting up in the middle of the night, a lot of anxiety, memory loss, short-term memory loss. I had a really hard time just remembering things that I'd done a few minutes ago or something someone had said to me. When I would read, I would get real bad headaches, to where now that these things are starting to, there's a lot of mile markers, and they're beginning to change.
Mm-hmm. And what about depression and
I was really depressed.
Yeah.
I went through a pretty long period of depression right before I got down here, and I only had one small episode while I was here over a weekend. But I think that was just in the healing process as I was going through the hyperbarics and the hands-on treatment that you were given.
Mm-hmm. So headaches have gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
One of the problems with people that have been exposed to blast injury, which is certainly what Adam had, is that there's a comorbidity, very well documented, of vestibular problems, which means the fluid in your inner ear where we get our balance from. That's what Adam was suffering, along with other problems from being shot in the chest and all that. You didn't have vestibular signs, you didn't have balance problems, but for instance, if you tried to read, I remember you telling me you would try and read in the Bible and you couldn't get too far, and then you had a hard time remembering what you just got through reading, right?
Mm-hmm.
And both of you have had to use GPSs to get from one place to another because you would get
Right.
disoriented very easily and not know where you were. If you got in your car, even in your hometown, and you drove, say, to some place that used to be familiar to you, you couldn't find your way back.
Gotten lost.
Get lost, right?
I got lost 4 miles from my house.
You got lost 4 miles from your house. And
Literally lost. Had to call home.
do you live in a big town or
Live in a rural.
in a very rural town? So
No town, just fields for markers.
yeah,
And county roads. So,
yeah. But in your boyhood, and this couldn't possibly have happened.
Mm.
But coming back from all these combat and service missions, here you are in your own hometown, and you drive 4 miles away, and you can't find your way back home.
Right.
And did you lose orientation for the east, west, north, south, or?
I just felt like I was in the middle of a desert.
Yeah.
Absolutely lost direction of where I was at.
Mm-hmm. And what about nowadays, after these hyperbaric treatments and the things that we've done?
I'm remembering a lot more.
Yeah.
My short-term memory's better. The neuropsych test that I did, I could tell a difference. Reading, the big questionnaire was 500 and some questions. When I first took that, it hurt so bad to read that he had to read it to me. To where yesterday I actually read the entire thing by myself and did it in a pretty timely fashion.
And earlier this morning, you were talking about you could actually remember the questions on the test today
Right.
that you took last night.
Absolutely.
And would that have happened before?
No way.
Yeah.
No
So, we've had the third SPECT scan on you, and even the technician that was taking the reading of your brain was excited because he saw again quite a bit of improvement in the SPECT scan.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Maxfield had diagnosed you with severe brain injury based on the SPECT scan, and you were told what about they did certain types of MRIs and other types of brain imaging for you in the military?
The VA.
At the VA, okay.
And they said that they were all within normal limits.
All within normal limits. And then yet Dr. Maxfield claims that you had severe brain injury. Well, what do you think you had?
I had severe brain injury.
Yeah. I think when
Yeah.
the military told you that you had traumatic brain injury, they were right. And I don't know what normal limits is for a brain injury. I mean, obvious to us, you also had a lot of muscular problems. You had a lot of tension in your neck. You had pains in your cervical spine, back pain, stuff like that. And so we were doing physical therapy, using electric stim and ultrasound, things like that, to help. And most recently, both of you have received this CES unit, which has been used for helping manage stress. That you can either get the little ear clips or the ones that, or the electrodes that go on the neck. And there's a lot of research behind that. We've given you the papers that a lot of the research that was by a psychologist, Dr. Smith, which talks about the ability to help with anxiety and whatever. And so when you go home now, you'll have this opportunity to use a device like that. So if you have a down day, you can put the ear clips on, and we have reason to believe that that'll help curtail any of that. And also, so your depression is different, your comprehension is better. Do you think you really need a GPS when you go home now?
I'm probably going to get one, just keep
To be safe?
until I actually get a chance to work on my memory stuff, and because I haven't got a chance to really drive down here. Adam's been doing
driving.
Adam's been doing all.
All right.
Adam's been the GPS, so.